Chapter 33 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, Rama's Joy. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataya Namaha. Vibhishana and Hanuman with Jambavan were thrilled with the achievement of Lakshmana. It was no mean task he had performed, and the heavens were raining flowers on him. He stood with his body covered by blood, and the string of his bow was still vibrating after the arrow had left it. The entire army stood around him, and there were shouts of joy from everywhere. The heavens were filled up with all the celestials, and they knew that the task of Rama had been almost accomplished. Ravana was the only one left, and Rama would soon kill him. This was the feeling in the mind of every one of those in the heavens, and the feeling of relief was to be found everywhere. Drenched with blood, Lakshmana stood in the field of battle, and Hanuman with Vibhishana and Jambavan stood beside him. There was a look of triumph on the face of each one of them, and thus they went to the presence of Rama, and the entire army went with them. Hanuman led Lakshmana holding his hand, and they went to Rama. Lakshmana fell at the feet of Rama and stood by his side, even as Indra would beside Brihaspati. His breath was still coming in gasps, and he told Rama about the killing of Indrajit. Vibhishana went to Rama, and he told Rama that Indrajit was dead. Rama's joy knew no bounds. He was thrilled that his beloved Lakshmana had achieved what had seemed to be an impossible task. He embraced his brother and said, "Child, Lakshmana, what you have done today is the greatest thing that could ever be achieved by anyone in battle. I am pleased with you." With the death of Indrajit, victory, which was somewhere in the dim future, had come suddenly within easy reach of us. The noble-minded Rama took Lakshmana on his lap and embraced him, much to his embarrassment. He treated him as he would a young child which had done something exceedingly clever. He looked again and again at the body of his brother and stroked him with loving hands. He shed tears at the sight of the many wounds on the body of Lakshmana, and he was greatly affected by it. He embraced him again and again and said, "It was a very hard task which I had set you, and you have come out victorious. Ravana, when he hears about the death of his son, will be as good as dead. I have already tasted victory because of your valor. To Ravana, the death of Indrajit will be like losing his right arm. He was Ravana's greatest strength. Hanuman and Vibhishana have done so much for you and helped you to become successful in your endeavor. 3 days and 3 nights have been spent in opposing this Indrajit. He was so powerful. It was unbelievable. Ravana is at the moment getting ready to come out to fight with me, I think. He will come out to the field of battle. He will be heartbroken at the death of his son. Ravana is a powerful opponent. I know that. But his spirit is gone along with Indrajit, and he will easily be killed by me. Sita will come back to me soon, and I will again be Lord of the world." Rama was greatly excited, and his words spoke of his gladness and his unusual expression of joy. He sent for Sushena, the physician, and told him, "Sushena, my beloved brother Lakshmana, as you can see, has been wounded. Use your physic and help him to be rid of the discomfort and pain arising from his many wounds. Vibhishana has also been hurt, and so is Hanuman. Several of the Vanaras in our army have to be attended to." Sushena used herbs to assuage the pain which Lakshmana was suffering, and very soon the pain disappeared, and Lakshmana was his usual self. Rama breathed a sigh of relief after seeing Lakshmana well and full of his usual enthusiasm. And they spoke in detail about the fight with Indrajit. They spoke about the valor of the dead hero Indrajit, and about Lakshmana and his claim and his calm manner of fighting. Rama listened as though it were the story of someone else, and Lakshmana smiled with embarrassment. Rama embraced him again and again, and there was great happiness in the army of Rama. Jai Shri Rama Lakshmana Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Bolo Hanuman Ki. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 34 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, Ravana's grief. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Ravana's ministers came to know of the death of Indrajit. They went to Ravana and told him, Lord, under our very eyes, when we were all looking, Indrajit, your valiant son, fought gloriously with Lakshmana, who was accompanied by Hanuman and Vibhishana. It was a glorious fight. Your son gave no chance for Lakshmana to rest even for a moment. His body was filled with arrows, and each arrow drew blood, and very soon Lakshmana was bleeding all over his body. He tormented the brother of Rama abominably, and he hurt Hanuman and Vibhishana too. They paused, unable to say anything more. Ravana was listening with a pleased expression on his face. They summoned up courage finally and said, O king, your brave son, who has never been defeated in any fight, was killed by the brave Lakshmana. The fight was intense, but in the end, Indrajit was killed by Lakshmana. He has been dispatched to the world of his forefathers. Ravana listened as though it were about the death of someone else. He could not believe that his Indrajit could die. It was not possible. He heard the news, and after a moment of disbelief, the truth dawned on him, and that it was true, and the Rakshasa monarch fell down in a dead faint. The pain was too much for him, and kind nature granted him a few moments of respite by making him faint. He was roused from his faint, and he woke up after a very long time. He said, Child, my beloved child, you are a great hero, and there was no one like you. No one in all the three worlds was able to touch even a hair on your head. You had defeated Indra, and how could Lakshmana do this to you? With your anger, you would split the Mandara mountain of Lord Mahadeva, and yet you were not able to split this man with your arrows. How can that be possible? Yama has to be praised, since he has had the audacity to capture you when I am still here. It has been said that a warrior who dies on the field of battle fighting for his master will reach the heavens meant for heroes, and for you, my son, there is a special place there. Today, all the Devas and the Danavas, as well as the other denizens of the heavens, will be without fear, since you are dead. Without you, this entire earth seems to be but a blank and empty space. The three worlds have lost all their charm now that you are dead, my child, my Indrajit, Meghananda. Why did you have to leave your kingdom, your beloved Lanka, your mother, me, and your wife? Is heaven then more attractive that you should have preferred it to all of us? It is the rule that you should perform the obsequies to me and when I am dead, but you have altered all the rules, and I have to offer Tarpana so that you will reach the land of our dear departed. Sugriva is alive. Rama and Lakshmana are still alive. And when they are there, how could you plunge me in grief and leave me? Indrajit, why did you have to die? Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 34, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, Ravana's grief. आपादमहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्. Ravana was inconsolable, and suddenly his grief turned into anger. By nature, Ravana was easily angered, and this sorrow enhanced it, and he was like the summer sun with his rays spouting heat which is unbearable. He frowned, and his breath was like the breath of Vritra when he was angry. Ravana was so angry he decided to kill Sita, who was the cause of all these calamities. It was not possible to approach him as he stood, angry like Rudra. Tears, which were hot like liquid fire, like drops of hot oil, dripped slowly from his eyes, which were crimson with anger. His sorrow was great, and great indeed was his anger, born of that sorrow. He said, "In the days of the long past, often have I performed tapas and pleased Brahma, and pleased with me, he has granted me several boons. Because of his love for me, he has granted that I will not be in danger as far as Devas or Asuras or Danavas or any of the celestials are concerned. Brahma has granted me an armor which is divine. Vajra cannot harm it, and during the war with the Devas, none of the weapons of the gods could touch me. If wearing that armor and seated in my divine chariot, I enter the field of battle, no one, not even Indra, can face me and escape alive. This bow was given to me by Brahma too, and it will grant me my dearest wish, the lives of Rama and Lakshmana when I go to fight with them. Let my weapons and chariot be brought to me immediately." Ravana was like one demented with sorrow at the death of Indrajit. He made up his mind to kill Sita. Those around him could see anger on his brow and sorrow in his eyes. It was pathetic. Ravana was trying to drown his pain in a spate of anger, and it was a fearful sight. He could not speak clearly since anger made him stutter. He said, "My child Indrajit tried his Maya to deceive the Vanaras, and he pretended to kill Sita, and that ruse failed. I will now make it come true. I will, this moment, kill that Sita who is devoted to that despisable human being." Ravana took his sword in his hand. With his mind completely unhinged because of the loss of his beloved Indrajit, Ravana took his sword, which gleamed blue in the light, and rushed to where Sita was. His ministers and his wives went with him, and there was nothing but fear in their minds. They had seen Ravana's anger before, but they had never seen this kind of anger before. They spoke among themselves, "It is certain that the Kosala brothers will suffer a great sorrow. This emperor of ours has not once been defeated in war. The Devas who guard the four quarters are but his slaves. He is the lord of the three worlds, and all that is precious or beautiful or rare has been annexed by our king. There is no one like him. None can equal him in valor or in might." They reached the Ashokavana, and Ravana walked with firm strides towards Sita. Some were bold enough to try and pacify his anger, but it was of no avail. Like an evil planet rushing towards Rohini, he went to Sita. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 34, Part 3 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, Ravana's Grief. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Sita saw Ravana coming towards her with his sword raised. She saw that he was being prevented by several, and that still he was walking towards her. She thought, "He seems to be in a fit of anger, since he is coming towards me with the sword. He is sure to kill me, who is helpless, who has no one to help me in my predicament." All these days, he has been telling me that he thinks nothing of my Rama. He has been forcing me to forget my Rama and to accept his love. And since I have been refusing him constantly, he is disgusted with me evidently and has made up his mind to kill me. I am sure of it. Perhaps these brave brothers of his have been killed in the war. Perhaps he is unhappy because his son is dead. He is not able to kill Rama, and perhaps out of frustration he has decided to kill me. If only I had listened to Hanuman's suggestion and allowed him to take me back to Rama, I would have joined my Lord long ago. Perhaps Rama is dead. I do not know what has happened. Sita was ready to die since she was convinced that Rama had been killed and that Ravana was angry with her because she had spurned his love. He must have felt that all his attempts had been futile and in sheer disgust had decided to kill her. While he was set on killing Sita, Ravana was not able to think properly. His anger had blinded him to all his surroundings and made him deaf to the words of everyone. He would not listen to anyone. However, one of his ministers by name Suparshva was very wise and good by nature. He saw Sita and he approached his king. He said, "My lord, how could you contemplate the death of Sita? It is not according to Dharma. You are well versed in the sacred lore and you have ever been observing the rites and vritas which will win a place for you in heaven. Never once have you swerved from the path of Dharma. How could you consider killing a woman? Wait for her to change her mind about you. Turn the stream of your anger against Rama. Today is the 14th day after the full moon. Success will be yours if you set out to fight with Rama tomorrow, which is the day of the new moon. Wear your armor and seated in your golden chariot, if you set out to fight, you can kill Rama and Sita will surely be yours afterwards." Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 35 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, the Moolabala of Ravana. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Ravana's anger had been appeased somewhat by the words of Suparshva, and he deigned to listen to his words. He put up his sword and returned to his palace without speaking a word to anyone. He entered his council hall and he strode up and down like a lion which had been newly caged. His sorrow was great and nothing would make him forget the terrible death of his son Indrajit. He greeted his men with a nod here and a look there, and no words came. After pondering for a long time, Ravana stood with folded palms before his men and said, "I would like you all to go surround by the army, made up of horses, elephants, chariots and footmen. Surround that Rama on all sides and rain arrows on him. He should be killed. If it is not accomplished today, I will myself go tomorrow, and even as you are all looking, I will split his chest with my sharp arrows and avenge the death of my son." This was Ravana's Moolabala, and it was famed in all the three worlds for its strength and for the valor of each individual warrior who was in the army. Ravana had great faith in this personal army of his, and he sent this army to fight with Rama. Armed with the many terrible weapons, the army of Ravana set out to the field. The sun had just risen, and the two armies were soon locked in a terrible fight. Dust rose to the skies and nothing could be seen around the field. Blood was flowing like a river, and the clash of the weapons with the rocks hurled by the Vanaras was the only sound that could be heard. After a while, it was evident that the Vanaras were being destroyed in hundreds and thousands by Ravana's army. The poor Vanaras rushed to Rama for succor. Rama took up his bow and came to face the army which was harassing his men. Arrows began to pour out of his bow like drops of rain out of a thundering cloud. He was deadly like the sun at noonday, and no one could approach him. He could not be seen. Only his actions were perceptible, and like the wind in the forest, he could not be seen. Those who were watching saw the weapons of the Rakshasas splintered and burnt, and they lay scattered on the ground. The men who made up the army were falling, and no one could see Rama except the bow, which was bent full circle and from which the arrows were emerging incessantly. Even as men who are lost in the world of senses cannot perceive the Jivatma inside them, even so Rama was not visible to the naked eyes of the Rakshasas. Shouts were heard. He is destroying the elephant army. The warriors on the chariots are being killed. The horses are dead with their riders. These were the words which were heard in the field of battle. Rama then took up the astra by name Gandharva, and the entire army went into a kind of delusion. The result was the Rakshasas saw several Ramas all at the same time, and again they saw but one Rama fighting with them. They saw the tips of his arrows, but they saw him not. In a muhurta, Rama destroyed the entire army. A handful of them, literally a handful, went back to Lanka, and the field of battle was like the playground of Rudra when he was in an angry mood. Celestial shouts of approbation could be heard, and Rama, relaxing after the fight, spoke to Sugriva, Hanuman, Jambavan, Vibhishana, and others. This powerful astra is known only to Lord Mahadeva and to me. He was extremely happy that he had been able to destroy the army of Ravana, his Moolabala, all by himself, like he had done in the Janasthana. Only this army was much larger and much better organized. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamast. Chapter 35, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, the Moolabala of Ravana. Apada Mahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyam. Great was the cry of mourning in Lanka. The wives of the dead Rakshasas were demented with grief. They wailed, "It was all because of Shurpanaka, the sister of our king, that these things have happened. Why did she have to go to the forest and see Rama? Rama is like another Manmata, and she fell in love with him. Why did it have to happen? He was not wishing harm to anyone. He has ever been brave and righteous. This ugly woman, obsessed with her lust, wanted him to take her. The old hag was the cause of our great misfortune. She caused the death of everyone in Janasthana, and as though that were not enough, to teach Rama a lesson, she had to come to Ravana with her tale of woe. She is the cause of all this enmity between Rama and Ravana. Sita was brought here, and that was ordained by the fates, the forerunner of the death of our king, which is imminent. He will never be able to make her his wife, and he is sure to be killed by Rama in the fight which is to ensue soon. The death of Virada should have warned our king that Rama is not an ordinary human being. And now we are all left lamenting because of the evil doings of one single woman. Khara, Dushana, Trisharas, and 14,000 men were killed by Rama, and yet our king would not accept that Rama is a god among men. Kabanda was killed, and then Vali, the great Vanara chief. That should have been proof enough. The crowning of Sugriva should have told us that Rama is no ordinary opponent. Vibhishana was a good man and he tried to advise our king, but it was of no avail. Our king was blinded by his own ignorance. If he had followed the advice of Vibhishana the king, and all of us would have been happy, Lanka would not have become a burning ground. Kumbhakarna was killed. Atikaya and Indrajit, who we thought was invincible, and yet the king has not been able to realize the truth. Every house in Lanka is sunk in sorrow, and he does not heed it. There is no one to save us, and we are desolate. These were some of the words of woe which were spoken by the women who had lost their husbands, brothers, fathers, and sons. Ravana heard the weeping of the women in the city. Lanka, from whose houses and mansions were heard till now only the music of the veena and the music of the anklets of the women, was now sending out nothing else but wails and sobs. Ravana was sighing like a serpent, and he was deeply immersed in thought. He caught his lower lip between his teeth and tried to hold back his anger and his sorrow. Ravana never thought that his entire Moolabala would vanish like snow on the face of the desert. He was glowing like the fire at the time of Pralaya. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 35, Part 3 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda, the Moolabala of Ravana. Apada Mahattaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Ravana spoke to his Rakshasas who were with him, and for the first time there was a semblance of fear in his voice which was faltering. He said, "Ask Mahodara and Virupaksha to be here immediately. Let Mahaparshva come here." They were trembling and they could not face their angry monarch. They rushed to the commanders and conveyed the order of the king. They were with Ravana soon, and with great effort he smiled at them and said, "I will this moment send Rama to the city of Yama, and his brother will go with him. I am going now to avenge the death of Kumbhakarna, Prahasta, and Indrajit. All my men have been killed, and I have to avenge their deaths. Because of my arrows with their winged ends, the quarters will be covered and the sky will not be seen. The rivers and sea will not be seen. With my arrows I will kill all the money monkeys who have come with these foolish men. I will comfort the women in the city by wiping their tears. I will make amends for the loss of their men to these women. All those who are still alive and who wish to go with me can do so." Mahaparshva hurried to obey his wishes. A large army was gathered, and very soon they were ready to march with their king. They loved him and they were ready to meet their deaths along with him. The divine chariot, equipped with all the weapons, was brought to the gates of the palace, and the valiant Ravana stood up in his seat, all set to go to the field of battle. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranamast. Chapter 36 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda. Ravana sets out to the field of battle. Apada Mahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokaviramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Ravana approached the chariot which was drawn by 8 horses. It was a very fast moving chariot, and it was gleaming like 1,000 suns. It was like fire which had been lit in the sacrifice, and Ravana ascended the Ratha. Surrounded by the large army, Ravana set out to fight with Rama. Mahodara, Mahaparshva, And Virupaksha also took their chariots and went with him. Ravana's anger was like that of Yama at the time of the great Pralaya, and he went fast towards the battlefield. He emerged out of the city, and the sun lost all his brilliance. Evil omens were seen. There was a sudden darkness enveloping the four quarters. The birds were all screaming discordantly, and the earth quaked. Clouds were raining drops of blood, and the horses tripped and fell. An eagle flew out of nowhere and sat on the banner of Ravana's chariot, entirely hiding the veena which was etched on it. Jackals were howling. Ravana's left hand and left eye throbbed. His face did not have its customary glow, and his voice was suddenly hoarse. All the omens were indication of death on the battlefield. He was unconcerned, and he proceeded fast. The Vanara army knew that another army had arrived because of the sound made by the chariots and by the clash of weapons. The fight began in no time. Ravana was fighting like one inspired. His arrows were emerging from his bow like rays from the sun, and they were scorching the Vanaras. No one was able to face his fury and his valor. The Vanaras ran away from him like elephants from a forest which had caught fire. He was like a strong wind with scattered clouds. Soon he was facing Rama. Sugriva was assisted by Sushena in rearranging the army, and he was engaged in fighting with the army. The Rakshasa army was made to realize the prowess of Sugriva. Virupaksha came to the aid of his men. A duel was fought between him and Sugriva. They fought for a long time, and both were great fighters. But finally, with a blow from his open palm, Sugriva killed Virupaksha. Like the waters of a lake become less and less with the advance of summer, even so, as time went on, the army on both sides was getting diminished in number. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattvalyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 36, Part 2 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda. Ravana sets out to the field of battle. Shri Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunataya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Slowly, Ravana began to realize that fate was siding with Rama, that the gods were favoring him, or else how could all this have happened to him and his men? He saw the great warrior Virupaksha killed by a blow from the palm of that monkey Sugriva. This was a thing which had to be seen to be believed. He called Mahodara and asked him to take over where Virupaksha had left. Like a moth rushing towards a flame, Mahodara went towards the army of the Vanaras with the desire to annihilate it. Sugriva was the one who faced him when he saw the harm which Mahodara was causing to his army. They fought for a long time, and finally Sugriva caught hold of a sword. Holding it in his powerful hand, he cut off the head of Mahodara, and it fell on the ground like a ripe fruit which can no longer stay on the tree. Rama heard the triumphant cry and was pleased with the prowess of his friend. Mahaparshva tried to win where his companions had lost. A portion of the Vanara army was attacked by him, and, armed as they were with but trees and rocks, they could not brook the arrows and javelins and other dreadful weapons used by him and his associates. He was a great archer, and his valor was great. They could not bear it. They were being killed in large numbers. Angada came to the rescue of his men. Jambavan joined him, and he broke the chariot of Mahaparshva. Angada fought valiantly for a long time, and so did the Rakshasa. Finally, Angada killed him with a powerful hit from his fist. Panic set in the army of Ravana, and within a moment he realized who had caused it. The very sky resounded with the happy cry of the Vanaras, whose king and prince had dispatched 3 of the commanders to the abode of Yama. Ravana hurried towards Rama in his chariot. He had seen the death of his 3 warriors who had come with him, and he was furious. He spoke to his charioteer. "I will end the misery in my Lanka by killing these brothers who have been wreaking such havoc in my army. Take me soon to where they are." Ravana was once again in front of Rama. He did not want to remember the previous encounter when he had fared so badly. It was like a bad dream to him to be forgotten as soon as possible. Ravana dispatched an astra by name Thamasa, which was enough to frighten the Vanaras. It had been given to him by Brahma, and the army was being burnt with it. Rama came to where Ravana was. Ravana saw him with his brother, and to him he looked like Narayana with Indra by his side. Rama was leaning against his glorious bow. He seemed to be towering up to the skies, so powerful was the effect of his stance. His lotus eyes were trained on Ravana, and his magnificent arms were strong and powerful. The anger on the brow of Ravana was seen by Rama, and he grasped his bow firmly in his hand. The valiant Rama, whose fame was known to all the 3 worlds, was seeing the havoc caused by the astra of Ravana. He saw too that Ravana had come to him straight with a desire to challenge him. Rama was very happy that the encounter was sought by Ravana. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamastu. Chapter 36, Part 3 of Ramayana's YUDDHAKANDA. Ravana sets out to the field of battle. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamiham. Rama strung his bow and he began to send his sharp arrows towards Ravana. The twanging of his bow was heard by all. Ravana replied with his arrows, and soon there ensued a serious fight between the two. Ravana was not willing to be disturbed by Lakshmana. He passed him by and went to Rama. Rama was only too happy to meet him. They fought for a long while, and the sight was pleasing to those who were watching them. The brightness of the arrows and the speed were like flashes of lightning streaking across the sky during the rainy season. The sky was hidden as though by clouds. So dense was the rain of arrows from their bows. Both were great archers. Both were well versed in the art of fighting. Both were proficient in the knowledge of astras, and the fight was glorious. Rama invoked the mantra and sent the astra by name Rudra, and it could not penetrate the armor of Ravana. Again, Rama tried another astra, and that again proved futile. They were countered by Ravana, and they entered the earth. Ravana now dispatched the astra by name Asura, and his arrows assumed the forms of wild and dangerous animals and began to harass Rama. Rama sent the Agneastra, which was enough to burn them all up. The Vanaras had all assembled, and they stood watching the duel and cheering whenever the astras of Ravana proved to be ineffectual. An astra which was presided over by Maya was sent by Ravana, and this was rendered useless by Rama. The duel went on, and neither was able to gain ascendancy over the other. Gandharvastra was used by Rama, and this was fought by Ravana, sending the Suryastra. The sun and the earth were glowing with the many circlets of light emerging from the bow of Ravana. Each was like a miniature sun, and the entire army looked at them in wonder. Lakshmana was impatient to fight with Ravana, and he came with his bow. He sent several arrows with a desire to wound Ravana, and the fight began now between Lakshmana and Ravana. Lakshmana was able to fell the banner of Ravana's chariot and Ravana's charioteer also. He broke the bow of Ravana. Vibhishana rushed up and killed the horses of the chariot. Ravana's anger against his brother was unbearable. He jumped down from his chariot and took up a Shakti and hurled it at Vibhishana. Lakshmana stopped it halfway. Ravana now took up a Shakti which was endowed with divine powers. It was more powerful than Yama. He twirled it in his mighty arms, and Lakshmana rushed towards Vibhishana and stood shielding him from Ravana's Shakti, which he had flung in wrath against his brother. Lakshmana fought with his bow and arrows, and Ravana decided that he should put an end to Lakshmana and his prowess. He said, Vibhishana has no doubt been saved by you, but you will not be able to escape the fury of my Shakti. I have now hurled it at you. It will this moment suck the life out of you after splitting your chest. Ravana roared with anger and hurled the Shakti at Lakshmana. It had been made by Maya, and it had never failed to claim a victim. It came towards Lakshmana, and it was fearsome like a thunderbolt. Rama said, May the Shakti lose its potency. May it leave my brother unhurt. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamast. Chapter 36, Part 3 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda. Ravana sets out to the field of battle. Apadamahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamiham. Rama strung his bow and he began to send his sharp arrows towards Ravana. The twanging of his bow was heard by all. Ravana replied with his arrows, and soon there ensued a serious fight between the two. Ravana was not willing to be disturbed by Lakshmana. He passed him by and went to Rama. Rama was only too happy to meet him. They fought for a long while, and the sight was pleasing to those who were watching them. The brightness of the arrows and the speed were like flashes of lightning streaking across the sky during the rainy season. The sky was hidden as though by clouds. So dense was the rain of arrows from their bows. Both were great archers. Both were well versed in the art of fighting. Both were proficient in the knowledge of astras, and the fight was glorious. Rama invoked the mantra and sent the astra by name Rudra, and it could not penetrate the armor of Ravana. Again, Rama tried another astra, and that again proved futile. They were countered by Ravana, and they entered the earth. Ravana now dispatched the astra by name Asura, and his arrows assumed the forms of wild and dangerous animals and began to harass Rama. Rama sent the Agneastra, which was enough to burn them all up. The Vanaras had all assembled, and they stood watching the duel and cheering whenever the astras of Ravana proved to be ineffectual. An astra which was presided over by Maya was sent by Ravana, and this was rendered useless by Rama. The duel went on, and neither was able to gain ascendancy over the other. Gandharvastra was used by Rama, and this was fought by Ravana, sending the Suryastra. The sun and the earth were glowing with the many circlets of light emerging from the bow of Ravana. Each was like a miniature sun, and the entire army looked at them in wonder. Lakshmana was impatient to fight with Ravana, and he came with his bow. He sent several arrows with a desire to wound Ravana, and the fight began now between Lakshmana and Ravana. Lakshmana was able to fell the banner of Ravana's chariot and Ravana's charioteer also. he broke the bow of Ravana. Vibhishana rushed up and killed the horses of the chariot. Ravana's anger against his brother was unbearable. He jumped down from his chariot and took up a Shakti and hurled it at Vibhishana. Lakshmana stopped it halfway. Ravana now took up a Shakti which was endowed with divine powers. It was more powerful than Yama. He twirled it in his mighty arms, and Lakshmana rushed towards Vibhishana and stood shielding him from Ravana's Shakti, which he had flung in wrath against his brother. Lakshmana fought with his bow and arrows, and Ravana decided that he should put an end to Lakshmana and his prowess. He said, Vibhishana has no doubt been saved by you, but you will not be able to escape the fury of my Shakti. I have now hurled it at you. It will this moment suck the life out of you after splitting your chest. Ravana roared with anger and hurled the Shakti at Lakshmana. It had been made by Maya, and it had never failed to claim a victim. It came towards Lakshmana, and it was fearsome like a thunderbolt. Rama said, May the Shakti lose its potency. May it leave my brother unhurt. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Panamast. Chapter 36, Part 4 of Ramayana's Yuddhakanda. Ravana sets out to the field of battle. Apada Mahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamiham. The Shakti entered the chest of Lakshmana, and it was like a dread serpent entering the hole which is its home. Lakshmana was wounded in the chest by it, and he fell down senseless. Rama was watching him fall, and he was greatly upset by the fall of Lakshmana. Tears sprang to his eyes, and he was wild with anger. He knew that it was not the time to be angry, and he fought with Ravana, and at the same time minded his brother whom he loved with a deep, intense love. His mind was in a turmoil, and he saw blood gushing from the wound in the chest of Lakshmana. The Shakti had pierced Lakshmana and had afterwards entered the earth. Rama could not contain himself. He went and tried to pull the Shakti out, and when he pulled it with both his hands, it broke in his hands. Ravana was all the while sending arrows at Rama, and they hurt him. Rama was unconcerned about his own pain, but he embraced Lakshmana, and taking him in his arms, he said, Hanuman, Sugriva, come here and protect my brother. This wicked Ravana, who seems to be the personification of evil, has to be killed. Like the Chataka bird, which has been aching for rain during the arid months, is thrilled at the sight of the rain cloud darkening the sky, my heart leaps up at the sight of this man who will be the cause for the display of my Vela. I assure you of one truth. This world will have either Rama or Ravana. Two of us cannot live in the same world. Two swords cannot be placed in the same scabbard. With the death of Ravana, all my sorrows will be forgotten. The loss of my kingdom, the life in the forest, the wandering in the Dandaka, the separation from Sita, the opposition of the Rakshasas, and now this great sorrow, this pain like torture in hell will all vanish once Ravana is killed. This Vanara army was collected for the sole aim of killing him. Vali was killed, and Sugriva was installed on the throne for the sole purpose of killing Ravana. It is for the killing of this sinner that the bridge was built across the sea. Now that he is here before me, and now that he has come within my sight, he can never hope to escape from me. I ask you all to assemble on the top of the hill, and from there you can watch the fight between me and my dearest enemy. The Devas and the Gandharvas and all celestials will see what it is that makes Rama a hero. Till the worlds stand, till the earth stands above the sea, So long as living things inhabit the earth and the three worlds, the war between me and Ravana will be talked about. I will complete my task successfully. Rama began to fight with renewed vigor. The encounter was as fierce as it was before, and the spectators heard only the twanging of their bowstrings and the swish of their arrows as they hissed in the air. Ravana was tired and he was tortured by the many arrows which had tips of gold and which hurt like living fire. Ravana left the field and there was great rejoicing at his discomfiture. Rama was in a way relieved that Ravana went away from there, since he could devote all his attention to Lakshmana, who was still unconscious. His mind had not been fully in the duel, and he asked Sushena, Sushena, as you saw, Lakshmana has been hurt by Ravana's Shakti. He is dear to me and my heart is not in the fight when my brother is suffering. I have neither the will nor the desire to devote all my time and attention on Ravana. If this brother of mine should die, what will be the use of my living after that? I have no wish to live, nor do I desire any happiness if he should die. My valor has gone to sleep and the bow slips from my nerveless hands. My arrows are scattered all over the place and I cannot even aim properly. Tears dim my eyes and my limbs are beyond control, like those of a man still wandering in the world of dreams. My concern is great, since Lakshmana has not been able to wake up from his faint. I have made up my mind to kill myself. Jai Shri Ram. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Ramanama Varanane. Om Shri Ramar Pranam.